Alright guys, welcome back. We are about halfway right now with all these different objects. We have two more that we have to do. We've done array of objects, the easy one, the most common one. Then we did object of arrays, not that uncommon, a little bit less favorable, and some people don't like it, but most people don't like it. Most people will like array of objects. And now we're going to go into the weirdest ones, object of objects and array of arrays. Okay, why would anybody want to actually spit out nothing but objects in their arrays, in their APIs to the front end guy? That's beyond me. I don't know why would anybody want to do that, but it could happen. It could happen. You could end up in a situation where your server side guy is not very knowledgeable, or is a medium level, entry level server side guy, and that's basically the only way he knows how to spit it out, and that's what you're gonna get. So now you're gonna have to deal with it, okay? Or maybe you're joining into a project that was done years ago, and there is no way to reset the data into something else, or to reshape the data, because the data has already been feeding other different places in other apps, and you don't want to, you know, you have a piece of data that is basically feeding different apps, right? Different apps somewhere else. This happens a lot for government. So you have a big piece of data for the government, and that big piece of data is a center of information, and a lot of people get from it. Like the Department of Transportation get stuff from it, the Department of Education gets stuff from it. Everybody gets stuff from this piece of big place. If you change this place because you work in the Department of Transportation and you want to change it to use arrays instead of objects or whatever, so that you can use it there, then guess what? All these other applications that are written to read the data the way that it's coming, now they're gonna break, because you just changed the structure completely and their stuff is not gonna work. So in situations like that, you don't have any control on reshaping the data on the API, therefore you have to map out what you get. And getting an object is not completely rare, but it could happen. Alright, so let's go to the object of objects. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up the page that we created, and we're going to add some stuff here. So we're just basically going to do what we've already done, and not have to talk all over about it. So grab this and put it on the top. So we're going to need all of that, and just grab the states as well. Let's just grab everything here. Grab everything in there. Just, you know what, let's just grab everything, and just, how far did I go from inside the object? Okay, and let's just let's put all of that there. Now before we go any further, make sure that we change the export down here so that it exports the right one. There we go. And we need to change this from object arrays to object of objects. So let's close this one. We're not using that one or that one, and let's open that one. We're using object of objects. All right, and let's set this. Yep, let's console log that for a second so we don't get an error. And then this one is going to be object of objects. Yep, object of objects. Okay, and then we're going to custom log this. All right, so now let's go ahead and make sure that we're not getting any errors. Object of objects, and the console log is, let me see, are we already console logging something? Yeah, we're already console logging something. And the reason why is because I am making the GET request here, and I am passing the response as a JSON format into a result variable, and I'm already console logging here. So yeah, so I am console logging here, and I am getting in fact what I would expect I will get, which is an object, a huge object that starts here and ends in that last bracket, and then inside there's two objects. One is good guys and one is bad guys. So, and then these objects are then breaking down into data inside and then data is an array, site is just a string, so everything from there is going to start to look a little better. But at the very entry point, you get basically 2 objects. All right, so how do we do this one? And this is a little bit crazier, but we're going to do it. All right, so I have already my good guys and bad guys are here at this state, and the reason why I want to have those 2 states instead of one big state, and I explained this in the last video, is because we're dealing with mapping an object, not an array. If you're dealing with mapping an array, with getting an array, then you can just get one big piece of state, and because you can map it, you can just grab that big piece of data and then just map it out and iterate through it. But you can't do that to an object, so it's better to break it down into pieces of state that you're gonna pick from the object and put them in there. Okay, so how do we know what to put in there? So first of all, we're coming over here and we see we're gonna need these 2 setters right here, set good guys and set bad guys. So I'm gonna put those 2 back into the mix. But what are we really gonna get? Excuse me. What are we really gonna get is we're gonna get the results for good guys and the results for bad guys. So, which is fine. This entire thing is called the result, right? This entire thing, and then result bad guys or result good guys. That's actually fine. And we're going to do this. And if we save it and we look at it, then we are getting the good guys collection with the sites and the data, and then the bad guys collection with the site and the data. Awesome. All right. Now, how we're gonna map this over here? We know we are already passing this stuff here, right here, this result, that good guys, into these pieces of state. So we've already done this before, so this is shouldn't be news to you, but there is a slight change that we have to do. So this one is going to be good guys, that's fine, and then for the side it's going to be good guys, that's fine. We can even go further on this one actually, because we do have a side. So we do have a side name, so you can actually call it side. Let me see what the good guy is getting the data, right? I think you can call this side. Let me make sure. Data is going in here. We'll figure that out in a second. And then we have this one here, good guys and bad guys. So if I hit enter, guess what? Nothing. So let's look at what it says here. All right. So let me get my notes back here so I know exactly what I'm telling you guys. Alright, so it's basically telling that the data map is not a function, and the reason why is because once we are calling this right here, we are basically making a call to our custom objects box, which requires this data to be an array, something that can iterate. Okay, we are injecting. Let me just get this open here. We are injecting here into this data a piece of state that will be used in this place by ways of this prop, right? Let me just minimize this. By ways of this prop is going to be injected everywhere you see this word data, which is going to be there and here. And then that has a map function, which means that it could only work if that piece of data is an array. And that's basically what it's telling you here, that the data map is not a function because what I'm throwing in there are not arrays. So we have to turn those into arrays. And how do we do that is we go back to this guy right here, and then we set these result good guys into arrays by putting an array box around it. So put an array box around it, hit save, and now we're getting good guys and bad guys. So we're starting to get something now. All right, we're starting to get something. So let's go ahead and do a refresh to make sure that we get all the errors gone away, and then yeah, that's fine. So so now that we're getting the excuse me. So now that we're getting the good guys and the bad guys, we need to then, from in there, where is it? From in here, we have to pick which one of these, because we're basically putting the entire site and data in there. We need to pick which one of those, and that is an object. So you can pick the position of the object and of what is in there and send it to it. So in this case, the result that is going to go into set good guys is going to be it's going to be the result. It's going to be good guys, and then and the good guys, and then inside good guys it's going to be the first position, right? The first position, and it's going to be data. All right, and I believe that's the same here. Result set good guys. Let me just make sure that I'm calling this correctly. Oh wait, that's not right. There we go. So basically what we're doing is we're getting this array right here, and then we are calling which piece of data, which position inside of that array we need, and then what's inside it, which in this case is we're getting this errors from before when it wasn't working. We're getting the piece of data from in there, and then inside that array that we just turned it into an array, because it shows us as an object here, but we are turning it into an array into pass, so we can pass it to the state as an array. So right now, because I'm console login result good guys, you're not gonna see that. But if I console log this entire thing instead, then you can see the array conversion in it. So I'm gonna grab this and pass it in there, and now you can see that it's been converted into an array. And then from inside of array, then I can call in the first iteration of the array, and then call the stuff in there. If I take this out and I just map the array, you're going to get this array right here, which contains two pieces. It's going to contain the data on the side. So this is why you need to know which one you're going to use. Okay, now I'm not exactly 100% sure if we need the 0 or just call data, but because I can see that we only have one. It's undefined, but because it's already itemized, it's already numerized, it's already itemized, notamized, whatever. That's why we have to specify the 0 location, and then you can get it here. All right, so everything is great, and then everything works. Now, one thing that I didn't notice when I was going through this is that I ran into some issues at some point where I was basically navigating through all these different views, and then I will get back to object of objects, and then it would just be gone, or I would refresh and it would just be gone. So sometimes that will happen, okay, and for some reason it's not happening right now, so that's crazy. All right, but that's not happening right now. But let's just show you. Let me show you what I would do if that were to happen. If that were to happen, then I would basically, before I send it to the state, I would do this mapping that you see here, this conversion, this entire thing. I wouldn't do it in the setter. I would do it before I set it, okay? Because this could come into a race condition where you may try to set something in the setter that is not quite ready, that it hasn't been quite been refactored yet. So I would actually I would prefer myself to do a refactoring of all this shape for the state before I set it into the state. So you know what I mean? Like, let's just get it all together, and then once it's all together, then I can go ahead and put it here, instead of grabbing this entire thing and put it there and then try to fix it inside the state. So I'm gonna get these guys, let's say goodies. Let the goodies be Result good guys. Yeah, let the goodies be the result good guys. Yep, right there. All it's just everything. Yeah, sure. Let the goodies be all of this, and let the baddies equal all of that. All right, and now I can grab goodies and you just put them in there, and baddies, and put them in there, and nothing will change as far as the UI goes. Everything will still be, everything works, and everything works here. Everything is exactly the same. Everything, nothing even changes here because you didn't change anything on the state. You didn't change anything in the HTML part. You only changed the setters right here to have them instantiated before and have a refactor before you send them here. So that's the only thing that changed. Alright, so I think that pretty much does it, but I am curious because I know here I am getting okay, so I am getting the results. Yeah, alright, so by the time you get here, you're only getting that. You're only getting the array. So if I wanted to make this programmatic and not type good guys in there, but I wanted to actually name whatever the side is called from here, from this prop right here, then I have to go one step behind. Then I have to do, on this result here, I have to eliminate that and let the results come in like this, which is going to break, but let the results come in like this as pure arrays, and then make that breakdown in here for data, and then I will be able to get it back. And then for good guys, and then I can grab this here but instead of calling the data, I want the side. And same thing for this guys, the bad guys, but not the data. Instead I grab the side, and you can see that it's still there. If I refresh it, there it is, it went away. So this is basically what I was talking about earlier. You were trying to access data that isn't there yet, and it should probably be an empty bracket. If you look at the well, it's not even, yeah, it's not even showing the reading of the data, because it's basically saying that good guys, which is this right here, doesn't, yeah, it doesn't contain the data in it yet. So that's why it wasn't working. So we're going to revert all of that and just make sure that we do this refactoring in here, and then we can send it in there, so that way it's always there. And there you go. If we refresh now, it's still persisting. We can go to another one and then go back to it. Everything works. All right. So yeah, so don't complicate your life if you don't have to. Okay. If you really want to complicate your life and make this programmatic, make this good guys programmatic, you can create another piece of state, call it bad guys label and good guys label with a setter, and then in here you can set up another one and then call it resolve bad guys 0 side, and then just call that in here. So basically it's just a lot of code for just something that you can just type in there. Okay, all right, so that is all for the objective objects. It really wasn't that complicated, but you know, it is odd, but it would be something that could happen. All right, and we're going to go ahead and close this, and then we're going to move on into the last call, which is going to be the array of arrays, also a weird one. All right, I'll see you then.